I recently talked with a brother in Christ who is struggling to keep that commandment: honor your father and mother. Can you picture our conversation? He's struggling to honor mom and dad. He reaches out to the pastor. He asks for some help. Now, here's the question. As you picture that conversation with me and this brother from my church, how old do you think he is? The answer? About 50. I remember that because it was this guy, just a few years older than me, who said, "Pastor Mike, I thought that honor your father and mother thing was for teenagers, but I'm finding it's even harder at my age." Yeah, I'm not sure if you've experienced that just yet. We often think the hard thing is mom and dad's rules when we're kids. They have rules for screen time and they have rules for curfew, and you have to eat your vegetables and you got to do this and you can't do that. And yes, we're going to church, and, to not talk back, to not dishonor them with rolling our eyes or dragging, stomping our feet like that. That's hard to be humble enough to honor father and mother. But as this man was pointing out, it comes back to like round 2 as your parents get older. Now that you're a grown up, let's say your mom and dad are in their 70s or 80s or 90s, for you to honor them and for them to show love to you is really complicated. Recently at our church's question and answer Sunday, someone asked me that direct question: "Pastor, how can we honor our parents as they get older? And how can older parents still continue to love their sons and daughters?" So I'm 41. My parents and my mother-in-law are in their lower 70s. They're still in pretty good health, but we're starting to get to that stage where things are changing, where they need a little bit more help with going up and down the stairs or with yard work. So I've experienced a little bit of that. And if God blesses them with a long life, there's going to be a lot more of that. So how do we do that well? Here's my one-word answer: humility. Right? As my parents get older, they're going to need a humble version of me. Right? If their senses start to go and they can't see well or drive as well as they should, it's going to require a humble me to become their taxi. If my dad used to be able to cut the grass and my mom would take care of the yard or cook meals without much help, but now as their senses start to fail, as their knees and hips get a little bit stiffer and more brittle, now it's going to require me to become the gardener or the chef. For me to continue to honor and love them is probably going to cost me time in my busy schedule. My wife and I recently had this conversation. Like, we're raising teenagers, we both have full-time jobs, we have hobbies, we go to the gym, but we're getting to that stage of life where we really have to be honest and humble about the time that it takes to love our parents well. Because it takes time to love people well. Our parents, according to Romans 8, their bodies are in bondage to decay. They're slowly breaking down. It might be a mental thing, it might be a physical thing, but they're going to need maybe more of our time than we have ever had to give. So if you have an aging parent, be honest about that. Be humble about that. It might be a 5-hour-a-week commitment. It might be 10, it might be 20. Maybe you have to cut back on some other things, but that is absolutely worth it to show honor and love to the people who have sacrificed so much for you. Right? They had to be the ones who were humble, taking care of you, feeding you, keeping clothes on you, right? Raising you up to know God and to know the difference between right and wrong. So now, tag, you're it. I've often said that expectations are everything. If you expect to do everything that you were before and honor an aging parent, I think you're going to be in trouble. So sit down, think honestly about the time and commitment that it will take to honor mom and dad. I know in American culture, we don't think much about that. Other cultures hold in very, very high esteem those who are growing older and who have done so many things for us. That's not really my culture, right? We think about our plans, our our job, our career. This is a place where the Bible challenges us to really put in the time and effort to have the humility to honor them well. Now, what if you're the parent in this situation? What if you're getting a lot older? What if you need more help? How can you show love to your children? I will give you the same word: humility. All right, it's important for you to be humble enough to realize that your children still have lives. Right? I know maybe you're retired, maybe you're not working, maybe you're not as busy as you used to be. If a spouse has passed on, there's not the time you used to invest with them. Like, you probably would love lots and lots of help. It's really important for you to be humble enough to realize that maybe your son has a job. Maybe your son is running to keep the kids involved in sports. Maybe your daughter, is busy doing this and that. And so it's going to take some patience and some kindness and some love. It's going to take lots of humility to ask for help, to be patient with their help, to not be pushy or demanding or bitter. It is really hard to get older. And so today, let's ask God to fill us with the humility that we need to do that well. I love in Ephesians chapter 6, it says, "Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." Fathers, parents, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Right, parents, don't exasperate your children. Don't expect too much. Remember, have the humility that they're busy. They have lives too. And children, no matter how old your parents are, honor your father and mother, that it may go well with you and your relationship, and that you can enjoy a long life together on the earth. It's not easy. Apparently, being a teenager was the easy part. But you and I can do this with God's forgiveness, with His grace, and His amazing example of love. May you honor your father and mother. May you love your son and daughter, that it may go well with you as you enjoy a long life on this earth.